You've spoken before about the fact that less than 1% of rape cases, is it go to trial or get prosecuted?
Less than 1% go to trial.
Right. And why is that? What's so broken in the system?
Gosh, all of it, really.
Right.
You know, and again, it does go quite deep, I think. There are problems with how the police respond to it. There are problems with how the CPS then deal with that. And it's been looked at previously that the CPS had an artificially high bar in respect of bringing charges forward. There are problems in the whole system in terms of the ordeal that a woman gets put through in terms of the trial itself. And I think that, also problems in society in the way we see it. And I think all of that means that lots of women probably don't even report it in the first place. I know lots of women that work within the criminal justice system who will say, I wouldn't report a rape if that happened to me because I wouldn't want to go through what I see happening on a daily basis. It's re-victimizing. It's traumatic in itself. And, at the moment, you could be waiting for 2 years or more for that process to be finished. So I think, all of that means that it's a surprise that anybody even reports it, really. But there are lots of myths, again, within our own culture about what a real rape victim should look like and how they should act, etc. You can't be drunk, you can't be wearing something that is seen as provocative, etc. And I think, there's still too much focus on the victim and what they did, what they said, how they acted. And I think that's really unfair. The focus should just be on the rapist. There's only one thing that causes rape, and that's the rapist. But I think within society, people still focus on the victim to the point where often victims themselves don't realise they are victims because they will say, well, yeah, but I went out, I was drunk, it's my fault. And I hear that from clients that will talk about what's happened to them, or clients will say, if I ask them, has your husband ever raped you? They'll say no. If you then say, well, has he ever forced himself on you or made you do anything that sexually that you didn't want to do, then often they'll say yes. And really there's no distinction between those two things, but they believe that often that you can't be raped by your husband. Obviously that situation changed in the mid-90s. But, still I think predominantly a lot of women still think that really you can't be raped by your husband. And yes, you might not want to have sex, but you kind of have to, and that's just how it is. So I think all of these things really make it very difficult for women to come forward. And, I'm quite sure that all of these kind of stereotypes and myths play into, all the decisions that are made by everyone within that criminal justice system, be it the police, the CPS, juries. I'm quite sure that all of this impacts on the minds of juries and whether or not they think the victim has acted like a real victim should, etc. So yeah, all of that. And like I say, I'm not sure I would report a rape either, to be honest. I just think the system is quite barbaric.